Good morning, everyone. Today we will be discussing the topic assessment of acrosome reaction. This presentation has been specially prepared on the request of few embryology students. The aim is to help you understand the concept step by step, from basic physiology to clinical applications. By the end of this session, you should be able to describe what the acrosome reaction is and why it is important in the process of fertilization. You will know when and why we assess the acrosome reaction. You will understand the different methods that are available to assess it, along with their advantages, disadvantages, and common usage. Finally, you will be able to explain the clinical applications of acrosome reaction assessment in infertility and assisted reproduction technology. The acrosome is a specialized lysosome that is present at the anterior part of the sperm head. The acrosome reaction refers to the process of exocytosis of enzymes from this acrosome. The purpose of the acrosome reaction is to allow the sperm to penetrate the zona pellucida of the oocyte, which is an essential step for fertilization. Therefore, assessment of the acrosome reaction is not just about looking at sperm structure or motility, but it is actually a functional test that helps us determine the fertilizing potential of the sperm. Now, when do we assess the acrosome reaction? It is indicated in cases of unexplained infertility where the semen analysis is otherwise normal. It is also indicated in patients who have experienced failed fertilization in previous in vitro fertilization cycles. It can be used as part of sperm function testing before assisted reproduction technology procedures. In research, it is used for studying sperm physiology, the effect of drugs, and the effect of cryopreservation. Finally, it is helpful in male infertility evaluation when the routine semen analysis is inconclusive. Physiologically, the acrosome reaction is triggered by zona pellucida glycoproteins, especially zona pellucida glycoprotein number 3, or by cumulus cells surrounding the oocyte. This leads to calcium influx into the sperm cell. The calcium influx causes fusion of the plasma membrane of the sperm with the outer acrosomal membrane. As a result, enzymes such as acrosin and hyaluronidase are released. These enzymes modify the sperm head and allow penetration of the zona pellucida. See diagram on right side. Primary binding, which is sperm ZP binding before acrosome reaction, is mediated mainly by ZP3. ZP3 acts as the primary receptor for sperm on the zona surface. It binds to complementary molecules on the sperm plasma membrane. This binding triggers the acrosome reaction. Secondary binding is postacrosome reaction binding and penetration. Once the sperm undergoes acrosome reaction, the sperm plasma membrane over the acrosome is lost. Now ZP2 becomes important. ZP2 mediates secondary binding, helping the acrosome-reacted sperm stay attached to the zona and penetrate it. Enzymes released from the sperm, example acrosin, hyaluronidase, digest the zona, allowing entry. After zona penetration, the sperm reaches the perivitelline space, PVS. Fusion occurs between sperm plasma membrane, postacrosome reaction, and the oocyte plasma membrane, oolemma. There are several methods to assess the acrosome reaction. These include light microscopy with staining methods, fluorescent probes, flow cytometry, and functional assays, which are also called induced acrosome reaction tests. Let us look at each of these in detail. Light microscopy with staining is one of the earliest methods used. Examples include Giemsa staining and the combination of trypan blue with Bismarck brown. How do we do it is, first, the sperm are fixed on a glass slide. Then, appropriate stains are applied to visualize the acrosome under a phase contrast microscope. Intact acrosomes appear in one color, and reacted acrosomes appear differently. Advantages are that it is simple, inexpensive, and widely available. Useful in teaching laboratories. Disadvantages are that it is subjective, observer-dependent, and cannot accurately quantify the percentage of sperm that have undergone the acrosome reaction. This method was historically very common, but now it is less frequently used in advanced assisted reproduction technology laboratories. Fluorescent labeling is a more advanced technique. Commonly used probes are fluorescein isothianate conjugated pisum sativum agglutinin and fluorescein isothianate conjugated peanut agglutinin. The process involves that sperm are incubated with the fluorescent probe that binds specifically to acrosomal glycoproteins. The slide is then observed under a fluorescence microscope. Intact and reacted acrosomes can be distinguished based on the fluorescence pattern. Advantages are that it is clear visualization and can differentiate between intact sperm, sperm that are undergoing reaction, and sperm that have completed the acrosome reaction. Disadvantages are that it requires a fluorescence microscope and the interpretation is still semi-quantitative. This is the most commonly used method in research laboratories and also in some IVF labs. This is a diagram showing whatever we discussed in previous slide. Flow cytometry uses fluorescent probes such as pisum sativum agglutinin or peanut agglutinin along with a flow cytometer. How it is done? Sperm are labeled with the fluorescent probe and passed through the flow cytometer. Thousands of sperm pass through the laser beam, and the instrument detects the fluorescence to determine which sperm have undergone the acrosome reaction. The system calculates the percentage of reacted sperm automatically. Advantages are that it is rapid, highly sensitive, quantitative, reproducible, and objective. Disadvantages are that it is expensive, requires expertise, and is not available in routine in vitro fertilization laboratories. Flow cytometry is considered the gold standard in research, but its clinical use is still limited. Functional assays measure the ability of sperm to undergo the acrosome reaction upon stimulation. The Zona pellucida induced acrosome reaction assay uses the natural physiological trigger, while the calcium ionophore induced acrosome reaction assay uses a chemical trigger. How it is done? For the Zona pellucida induced assay, sperm are incubated with oocytes or isolated Zona pellucida. For calcium ionophore induced assay, sperm are incubated with calcium ionophore solution. After incubation, sperm are stained or labeled to determine how many have undergone the acrosome reaction. Advantages are that it is closest to physiological reality and provides the best measure of fertilization potential. Disadvantages are that it requires availability of Zona pellucida or specialized reagents, time-consuming, and technically demanding. These are mainly performed in research or specialized centers rather than routine clinics. In summary, in research laboratories the most common methods are flow cytometry and fluorescent probes. In clinical assisted reproduction technology laboratories, fluorescent labeling with pisum sativum agglutinin or peanut agglutinin is the most practical method. In basic laboratories and teaching setups, simple staining methods are still used. Functional assays are generally reserved for research or specialized centers. So, why does acrosome reaction matter? A low percentage of sperm undergoing acrosome reaction indicates a higher risk of fertilization failure in vitro fertilization. Acrosome reaction assessment helps clinicians decide whether to use conventional in vitro fertilization or intracytoplasmic sperm injection. It is useful in evaluating cases of unexplained infertility and sperm dysfunction. It also has an important role in quality control of sperm processing in laboratories. Finally, it has significant research value for studying the effects of drugs, cryopreservation techniques, and environmental toxins on sperm function. To summarize, the acrosome reaction is a key event in the process of fertilization. Assessment of the acrosome reaction provides us with a functional test of sperm ability beyond the routine semen analysis. There are multiple methods available including staining, fluorescence labeling, flow cytometry, and functional assays. Each of these methods has advantages and disadvantages, and the choice of method depends on the clinical or research purpose as well as the resources available. Clinically, it is especially useful in infertility workup and in planning assisted reproduction technology. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe for more